is the top lane, because Darshan for CLG has played 2 games of Poppy, and this is something that recently CLG have been doing, where they stick Darshan on a tank. In North America, in their previous series, it was Shen. Every single game on Shen.
Yeah.
So far today, or so far here at Worlds, it has been Poppy the go-to tank for them, the team fighter that they want him to be.
I really liked the Olaf ban on the side of the ROX Tigers. There were no games of Olaf jungle in Korea in summer. It was very much an unknown pick. You see it from G2. It threw off the bot lane in particular in the last game. So if there's an unknown variable, just ban it away.
Take it out. You don't want to fight against it, especially if it's not something you can take. Syndra as well gets put on the board. The Kennen is out. Remember, Aurelion Sol is back today, ladies and gentlemen, so that may be something we see coming into picks and bans. One more for the side of ROX Tigers before CLG has their first pick.
No one's going to forget Smeb's Kennen play, that massive team fight, and the big multi-kill he got there. He's actually 7-0 on the year for Kennen.
Yeah.
Played it in and out of meta, so very practiced on what is a big pick in Worlds.
Definitely a very important ban, and it is shrinking that top lane pool that I have my eye on for this matchup, because, you know, people talked about Smeb, oh, maybe he was starting a little bit slow since he is talked up as being #1 player in the world, but man, that one play put a lot of those questions to sleep. Immediately though, the Nidalee is left up in favor of the Nami ban here, last ban from the Tigers, which CLG have put a very high priority on drafting strong bottom lanes, so they'll have to go with something else, as another strong bottom lane support is taken away in the Karma. I do like the strategy from ROX already.
Should be no surprise that Ezreal's taken was the first pick in their draft yesterday. You have to deny the Nidalee away from Peanut. This guy is a god on this champion, undefeated this year on Nidalee, so makes it a smart move to ban it away. And Ezreal Karma, as you say, could be a bully lane or might be a flex pick for Kuro in the mid lane.
Yep, definitely true there. Could still be flexed. I have to say, that's a very strong bottom lane, but you also need to respect Smithy's Nidalee as well. He has had a lot of success on that in North America. We'll see what he can do with it, because as we said, he has been one of the best players for this team currently at Worlds.
I mean, it's always great to get that first jungle pick, and when the jungler as well is the guy who is making the highlight plays, it's going to feel so much better to get him on that S tier. Looking at the bottom lane as well, wants to be aggressive, put a little damage on, they get the Alistar Caitlyn.
The classic Afro Moo Alistar, and there's the playmaking from CLG already.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on ROX Tigers, they need some more CC. Immediately they lock it in. Quickest lock-in I've ever seen. The Malzahar once again for Kuro, and on top of it, the Rek'Sai there for Peanuts.
You have to wonder what the status is of the Aurelion Sol. Always been a big pick for Huhi. Isn't on the ban list here, so will be surely a contender for a pick in the mid lane. Kuro has been favoring more of the Malzahar, played it with that Nocturne in the comp yesterday. Peanut plays Rek'Sai, but isn't necessarily one of his strongest champions. But of course, smart pathing jungler. There's plenty of aggression expected from Peanut.
Yeah, I mean, Aurelion Sol definitely is an option. Huhi usually roams very heavily super early on with it, and then as they transition into the team fights, is more about creating space for Stixxay to get off the damage. And since Stixxay's on Caitlyn, you know, it could be one of the things they're trying to set up, but there are more options here open into the Malzahar, since Kuro has already shown that one.
And what will that top lane be for ROX? Still waiting for 1-2 pick here. Could be the Aurelion Sol locked in. It is Gnar for Darshan, and Huhi gets Aurelion Sol.
I do like the Gnar pickup here for CLG. Gnar's very versatile, can opt to play extremely safe. You can throw the boomerang out if you're worried about enemy jungler presence and just try and CS from afar, plus rely on your hop to escape those things. Yes, you might give up a couple extra CS, but he has the option of playing very defensively or trying to press the matchup and go offensive.
You have to say though, Ezreal, the safest of AD carries, you know, those are mobile AD carries. Gnar is a huge threat from the flank, but will be relatively safe in the backline. Will be Prey, who's kind of an afterthought in yesterday's win, went 9-1 and 4, was carrying from the backline, so still relative safely for Prey, on one of his strongest champs.
Definitely crucial that Prey on Ezreal is not an afterthought, because that man is one amazing Ezreal. And there's the Poppy. They actually give it over to Smeb in this one. Don't expect him to bully Darshan, you know, just because he is the stronger player doesn't mean he's going to be able to make this matchup work in his favor without jungler presence. So I think that CLG actually pretty happy with that top side.
It gives them true engage also, the Poppy onto the Nidalee when they set up, when the Caitlyn sets up, so I think it's a needed pick, but it's a bit of a different one from Smeb, who played it a lot in spring, but wasn't a pick in summer in Korea.
I'm very excited to see how he does play it in team fights, because that's where Poppy shines, and she has so much playmaking ability, as we just saw in the last game from Smurf. And Smeb, he's been one of those guys that kind of just opens your eyes to new ways of playing these top lane champions in team fights. Last Worlds, for me, the biggest eye-opening moment was the way that he team fought with Echo, because it's so unreliable, yet it seemed like it was a point-and-click ability to have Echo's stun land over and over again for him.
It incredibly wows you, the positions they can find, the way to make the plays that are so hard seem so seamless, just as Kennen did yesterday, and we may see it once again here. Make your voices heard in the Twitter sphere, hashtag CLG win, hashtag ROX win. CLG looking to move to 2-1 here, but ROX could come out of this first week of group stages 3-0 with a win here.
Very good. I mean, coming into the tournament, that's what most people would predict and what would be expected. And I think, yeah, they definitely still are favored. But as we've seen, you definitely have to play out these games, because there have been a ton of upsets.
We're citing Aurelion Sol as well, back enabled today. Huhi on his trademark. This is the champion that threw off RNG. Will it do it the same against the ROX Tigers?
All right, well, I'm definitely going to look at that super early on, because Nidalee is a jungler that can play to the mid lane very quickly, and Huhi likes to play this Aurelion Sol. Shove up the lane while trading aggressively to get control of the minion wave. Early back after level 3, after he has already got his E, not use it to get back to lane, but then transition into ganking one of the side lanes.
That's the reason why it was Sin as one of those picks you could take into Syndra, because level 1, you can trade with your W, the expansion, and get some good trades in. And if you ever get poked out, go for that shop. Come back to lane fast. Never be in threat range from a Syndra.
Thing is, you do expose yourself if you play it very aggressively, and Peanut is no slouch. We'll see what he can do on Rek'Sai, because Rek'Sai very famously can have one of the earliest level 3 ganks. Doesn't matter which side of the jungle you start on, 3 camps and Peanut will be ready to go. Meanwhile, Smithy's trying to get some early vision on him here. They're just doing this pretty standard defensive fan out, and a little bit of an advantage for CLG as they just got into the red quadrant. Haven't actually dropped off any wards yet, though. Darshan could.
Seems like he's waiting to get it down for the most timely vision. He'll set it down now and make his way out and head towards that top side. See if they do any more of the kind of damage back and forth we saw previously with taking a few hits and trying to fake out the other team.
And that ward is very important, because as I mentioned, Rek'Sai could easily just do Krugs into red, Raptors, and then try and gank mid, since Huhi is going to be playing aggressively. So they're going to use that ward to allow Huhi to play to the bottom side. You know, they'll see Rek'Sai once he goes to the red and try and keep track of him that way. I have to say, that's one of the things that has impressed me so far in the group stages from CLG, is their planning in the early stages. From the champion select, depending on what they have, they've been able to track the enemy junglers really well, but Peanut actually goes right by it, but Huhi level 1
down, Prey gets hit, yes it is the roam!
That fog of war toggle on the top side!
Whoa!
Tunnel vision on the junglers, and Huhi level 1 roam, are you kidding me?
I mean, you can never criticize someone for being caught out by a level 1 roam, but Huhi for once isn't running the exhaust, isn't running the heal, is running Ghost, and just completely outfoxed the ROX Tigers.
That's the thing, you can't stay predictable. We talked about, yeah, he likes to play this lane aggressively.
Oh, they're on a Gorilla now, a few shots coming out, a Peacemaker through a Gorilla, and it's gonna be Afromu that picks up the next kill.
That's beautiful layering the headbutt pulverize into the trap from Caitlyn. ROX Tigers have been behind the majority of their games, and it doesn't look like it's gonna end here.
Yeah, okay, so we do need to calm down a little bit.
I don't know, Kobe.
Afromu's going for another play here, embedding in the jungle.
See, this is when you get too sure of yourself. Afromu turning around, they may have to slow things down as ROX just as fast and ready to react on these engages. A headbutt back onto Peanut is going to slow things down here. Stixxay's been farming in the bot lane, has a good lead for himself out of all of this.
Whew, incredibly exciting start here, but we do have to remember, as Papa said, like, the early game has not been where ROX Tigers shine. All right, let's look at this level 1 roam, because Huhi, right off the bat, Afromu doesn't hesitate. Talked about playmaking on the Alistar. This guy has been known for the Alistar years and years ago, and Afromu, no hesitation there, has the Ignite and the Thunder Cow, is gonna cash in.
And it's predictable that a Rek'Sai is gonna start on the top side of the jungle, usually pathing to get to the blue buff to pass it over to Yelena much later, but Darshan made sure of it. They roamed smartly, they had control over the river. This was so well put together by CLG. And the stat that we have right here, Kobe, is that the ROX Tigers have only been ahead for 41% of their games.
That's true.
Game time, despite the fact that they're 2-0.
Yeah, and even in Korea, right, it wasn't about ROX Tiger blowing people out in the early game. It's this 10-minute to 20 mark where they really take over. So we're going to temper expectations a little bit, but man, CLG are off to such a good start. And as I said, that has just been their biggest strength. I have to credit a lot Zix, their coach, as well as Aframu, you know, designing these early level ones and warding plans around the champions in Champion Select, and then executing for the first 5 minutes in game. It's just been so good for them.
It's good that you touched on Zix, of course, was having his issues actually being able to perform his duties with some medical conditions in the last few months. So it's good to see him back on the stage, looking better. And a small little thing for ROX, at least the 2v2 lane isn't completely a write-off. They have all 4 summoners, so they're not down summoners and down kills.
Huhi coming back to lane with his ring, able to get the heals. I don't know if it's going to help him here. He gets the flash out, still holds Ghost. And Xmithy is there as well to trade some damage, but they seem to miss on the shots in.
Yep, attempted layering there of the knock up into the silence, but couldn't quite get in range in time. That allowed him to... Aframu has no flash, remember?
Aframu definitely pulling out the roam card today. It might get him in trouble here on this one. A great block by Stixxay on the Q coming out from Gorilla. But Smeb's teleport on point. He's going to get one more shot in as the chase happens towards Tribrush. And Aframu's going to try to walk this one now. They get to kill the prey, so it's a few assists left and right.
The minion wave is crashing to top, so of course we'll take some CS as punishment, but good job by Smeb. So much of the initial inertia had been going towards CLG. They had to make a pressure play work.
And after all these early plays, you have to keep your eyes on the first turret gold because it's incredibly important. Tigers are trying to get some damage here, but remember, it's also past 5 minutes, so some damage up top was dealt by Darshan, and if this lead between Gnar and Poppy gets any worse, then even Smeb, as good as he is, will have trouble in that 1 versus 1. Gnar, even though after the nerfs, very good at punishing if left alone in those matchups. Here we go, Aframu tries to escape. You see he's gonna try and get this minion to execute. I think maybe he didn't have a Targon charge. Never mind. But Smeb teleports in, cuts him off, ensures that they are gonna get that kill. And it's actually good for them that it does go over to Prey on the Ezreal, going to be the one they want to carry.
Ideal to give him over the money for the tier. We'll fit in the extra buy to start his gold generation as well. So exciting times so far, but we already saw ROX Tigers fall into a massive hole against G2.
Yeah.
Wrestler back. It's a very different type of comp, a very different game, but the ROX Tigers coming from behind. Maybe it hasn't been the story in summer, but of course was their narrative 1 year ago at this very tournament.
And we haven't even seen what maybe would have been expected in this match is that pressure towards top lane. So Darshan and Smeb have just been all alone on an island. When they get going as well, this game is going to open right up.
A lot of the mid game is going to be determined by the solo lanes of CLG, I think. That's where a lot of the gold advantage does lie. Huhi in the mid lane has early swiftest boots here for the Aurelion Soul, and he's the one with the biggest gold advantage over his direct opponent. Now he's being fed the blue buff, and you know the ability to make plays is definitely there, as it's still fairly early in the game, and the fight over vision has not been won yet by either team. This is still a river fight right now. That's why each Scuttle Crab is extremely important, and you can see Xmithy right after handing off that blue, goes to try and fight that vision war.
We will have the faster push, especially early before a bit of AP comes in for the Malzahar, so can go for these roams. This is one of the scariest 2 invading champions, Nidalee and Aurelion Soul. CC, massive burst damage coming from the duo, and Peanut's gonna have to play with his tail between his legs. Yeah,
you have to respect it here. At most, he could go for maybe a cheeky smite fight here with the 50-50 smite steal versus Xmithy. They do both have it available. Meanwhile, top though.
Smithy smite that went off, so I believe he did take it. Smeb's gonna knock Darshan out of the picture on that one. It was a good steal.
And I really do need to highlight that play because, as I said yesterday on the analyst test, what the best teams right now are doing at Worlds is after they... Well, never mind. Let's take a look at the roam.
Headed towards mid, Kuro's flash. That is going to be big with the crowd control CLG can provide.
Yeah, pretty big respect flash. It's a bit of a surprise that ROX didn't ban the Aurelion Soul. We know, everyone knows, you can look at the matches, so you can think back to MSI, that Huhi, the Aurelion Soul's a big pick for him. And the last ban was Nami, I guess to look for some 2v2 laning insurance. a pretty heavy price to pay because Hui's already had a big impact on this game.
Do agree. Pretty much every team that has faced them recently has really respected Hui's Aurelion Sol because he's been one of the biggest variables for this team. Just yesterday, we saw them get Syndra, yet Syndra being one of the strongest champions was the focus for the enemy team, and he was completely shut down.
So the roaming we've already touched on. The big thing about Aurelion Sol, who we see on our screen, is also the build path. You can go so different with it, but we're seeing that ganking ability.
Ghosting
early
early
right
here.
into this fight. They have backline immediately, but Prey has scattered beautifully. Gorilla going to the other side. He has flash, probably going to hold it as he goes down. But again, the attack from CLG on bot lane.
And there's a reason you mentioned the roaming of Aurelion Sol first, because that's the biggest strength, and CLG continue to play with that. Remember, the first turret gold as well, still available, still the objective, and it looks like CLG have secured it with that roam.
Super nice rotation. The Caitlyn's always going to have a great laning phase against the Ezreal, who's buying into tier, bought into Cull. Just completing the thought on the build. Catalyst will be built at some point. From there, you can go pretty situation. I've seen Catalyst in something like a Spectre's Cal, a later GLP. Not so much a Rod of Ages, more focusing on the other Catalyst upgrade for the Aurelion Sol. Another nuke for this channel.
And this is Stixxay getting his kills as well, and a champion he has already had banned this tournament, 102 on that Caitlyn, and he has put up some ferocious fights in the late game that have kept CLG in some of these games as well throughout their regular season. So we'll look to him as the game goes on, 87-64 in that lane right now. Darshan as well in the 1v1, 96-75. It's wondering what you guys were talking about when that kind of explosion from ROX will come.
Right, and I mentioned, you know, the difference between the Gnar and the Poppy can be a problem. They haven't gone back to purchase yet, which is why the lead hasn't really expanded since then. They're both holding on to quite a lot of gold and their teleports right now. That's why neither of them wants to really give up ground because of the playmaking ability of teleport.
Gets the passive out of Kuro. There's going to be enough! And the voice of light drops Kuro. Hui picks it up.
Really smart stuff from CLG. We saw Kuro respect flash about 2 minutes ago. Returns to the lane. Great job by Aphromoo to buffer the headbutt, then go for the pulverize. Excellent play, and CLG and the crowd are super hyped.
Roams on roams. CLG aren't done yet.
There's going to be another one. When you see a shooting star, you got to make a wish, and it looks like they're going to kind of pull off on Smeb on this one. They wanted it right off the bat, but they say, let's not.
Nice ejection there from
Little
Smeb.
ult from Smeb.
Also, Darshan had previously taken quite a lot of tower damage there in the 1v1 by himself, so not going to press the action on that side. They don't really need to. Now we do need to start looking for deep wards, because teleport into a deep ward is where that you can really cut off the team if you combine that with the roam of Aurelion Sol and the speed of Nidalee.
CLG setting up very cleanly around the dragon. We will finally see those buys in top lane, which probably helps Darshan a lot more. We'll have a much bigger one-item power spike than Smeb and his inevitable Sunfire. ROX actually getting position on the Drake, though.
Yep, Smeb waiting in the fountain as well with his teleport, ready to come in. He had just purchased, whereas Darshan was still sitting up top. Darshan not having purchased would have a smaller effect on the fight. And it looks like ROX Tigers, good job there, bullying CLG off of that objective and securing the first pick.
And, you know, we look at Smeb, and obviously had the big play yesterday. You know, before that, people are like, I don't know about this Smeb. The other kind of cool thing is that because of his back timing, they didn't know if Smeb was just teleporting to a ward they didn't have in vision, and they had to respect the Poppy coming in. Poppy's 20 CS down, but Darshan already showed us in the first game of this tournament that this kit from Poppy with just a bit of tankiness can make big plays around the Drake. So because of the timing, CLG hung back, and it's against the run of play, a first Drake to ROX.
Very true. Good point there. I have to say, two of the most important rules in League that we've found at Worlds have been don't underestimate Faker and always respect Smeb as well.
Let's see where they go from here. Kuro back to the mid lane. No real level discrepancies across the board. Just waiting for the first fight. As you're saying, ROX able to pick up the first dragon. If they're not winning mechanically in each lane, they'll win mentally through that play of making CLG kind of juke themselves. And we'll see what Xmithy can do here as he's back to the red with that timing.
Yeah, and no vision here for the Tigers. Smithy does find the small one. I think he's too late, though, yeah. Good secure there by Peanut. The Frozen Mallet has been picked up by Darshan on the Gnar, and that really is, the
That's the, oh, that's right, Kobe. A Peacemaker through Gorilla. He's gonna get dropped most likely, but Prey, the bodyguard, comes in. 6A's out of mana and Peanut over the wall. Flash knock up onto him. The rest of the team is closing in. New challengers approach from the top side, and that's gonna be the Prey Seeker hit coming in. Beautiful job, Peanut, with the swipes. Gorilla is gonna go down as 6A has fallen as well, and that's damage for CLG that they're not gonna have here in this fight. Seems like Huhi's a bit scattered. Darshan on the outside as they try to drop Prey. They don't have a priority focus here, and it looks like with the walkout, they can't help Darshan.
Prey is an absolute monster. Darshan's not done yet, but honestly, that is a highlight Prey, right? Make that to a YouTube play right now. That's a whole highlight clip in itself. My goodness, first saving Gorilla, then escaping the fight, coming back over the wall, baiting Huhi in, and securing that last kill. My God, Prey.
And the best thing about Ezreal being in the meta, we've seen so much of it, but the gulf between a fantastic Ezreal, which is all the players at World, and someone like Prey is massive to see. Gorilla doesn't burst, he uses his flash, but Prey makes it work.
Right, Afro and 6A, they combo the Alistar combo into the trap there, but Prey jumps in front, gets the heal down, then he dukes out here. He's gonna kite half CLG up into their own base so that now they're separated. Smeb comes in with that teleport. There's the playmaking you talked about. Shoves him into the wall. Actually here, baiting Huhi, getting damage off still as well, and CLG are completely split inside enemy territory.
And what I want people to take away from that is the fact that he never stops doing damage, never not going for mystic shots, never zone, but this time, maybe.
One of my favorite things about a player is that they fight to the very last breath because your teammates can still pull that fight in your favor. This one going for CLG as they instantly come back from the batting order and head down to the bot lane.
Huhi is doing so well this game, and CLG playing around it extremely well. They're going to have to keep it up, though, because we have gotten into that mid-game zone where the Tigers really like to have their team play shine, and that little jungle fight was just a window into what they're trying to do here. CLG still with a very comfortable lead, though. Yeah. What they need to do to limit those options of the Tigers is get extra wards into the blue quadrant of the jungle, which they're starting to do here. You can see a couple of pinks, and they've rotated Darshan down to the bomb side so they can try and abuse this Frozen Mallet lead that Darshan does have in the 1v1.
Peanut sniffing around Darshan. Doesn't have flash this time, so
should be able to make it. Oh, he turned around. He gave him the knock-up. He may also get the slow for himself off the boomerang. This semi-close-in from Smeb. He's turned around on the null zone. Is going to be doing good damage to Darshan. There is enough.
And Smithy actually left him there. Smithy was very close in the jungle, but decided to leave Darshan and thought that Darshan could get away on his own. Good punish by ROX Tigers. They do rotate down, but CLG had priority on top.
Exactly. They've actually used this time very wisely. They have almost complete control on the inside track. Aframu!
ROX has always been able to answer CLG's kill. Now CLG again wants to answer back. Rinse and repeat as they go to the top side. And a double kill for Huhi.
This is something we have sorely missed. Aframu on the Thunder Cow with Ignite. Go button, just smashing it over and over again.
The new age Baron pick didn't really work for him the last time out, but bringing back the Alistar, still going.
Smeb's gonna be getting hit on this one. He throws back a bit of damage, but he wants to chase a few more autos. 6A in range, and 6A picks up the kill.
Aframu almost actually saved Smed there by walking a little bit
taking auto attack
towards the base of ROX and allowing Smed to charge closer to the base, but they make the chase, and it does cost them a couple extra summoners in the end.
ROX just not playing around their power. They tried to defend, even though CLG had a good 20 to 30 seconds while we watched the Gnar slowly die on the bot side to set up. It's not respecting the potential aggression. Look at this play from Aframu. Instant flash into the pulverize. Couple of kills were always going to be cleaned up. No way to get out. Smeb came in so late. There's already 2 dead. No reason for him to be there.
Exactly. I mean, they've only got Rek'Sai Poppy. You are not going to accomplish anything with that combo.
He's not getting experience, he's not getting CS, not getting anything standing where he was.
It's actually not even Rek'Sai now. It's literally just Smeb trying to farm. And there is the punish. As you know, Aframu once again, easy combo into the chain CC there from Huhi. Does step a little bit to the other side, allowing Smeb to charge, but 6A has his flash, and they secure the kill anyway.
Interesting choice here from ROX. Kuro as well in the bot lane for that, pushing the wave, but putting themselves in that dangerous position in the top side.
And let's talk about where Huhi is at. This polarizing player that even among his own fans is both loved and maligned. 7-0 on the Aurelion Sol. He's both the tank with the Banshee Veil and the health on the GLP. but having the damage as well, the extra nuke, Hui's just a one-man army.
I mean, you brought it up before, Papa. They're not, respecting the Aurelion Soul of Huhi. There's a reason it's been banned so frequently against CLG. And not to mention just that pick by itself, though, they also gave over Nidalee for the fastest junglers, allowing, working the best with this roaming mid laner. That's just a dream combo right there, and CLG are making it work.
Syndra banned and picking Nidalee and Aurelion Soul on the same side should basically never happen on 618. We saw the roam power of the duo because it gives a fast roaming initiation CC for Nidalee to do her thing, and the problems in mid lane have spilled all over the map for ROX Tiger.
I love how this group has been thrown into chaos. ANX has 2 victories. ROX Tigers are currently losing to CLG, who gave up one of those victories. This is honestly, we picked the wrong group of death.
Things that didn't make sense one day before World started. You could fill a book with them at this point.
League of Legends does not make sense.
That's a lot of them. I think Bjergsen just tweeted the same thing. Well, it's almost to be expected that something crazy is going to happen now in this Worlds event with the way that this first week has gone. We have another week to come after it, but still 2 more games today, I should say. And CLG putting on a show to start these ones off. 20 minutes into the game, they finally drop that middle turret. The final outer for ROX is now they have the entire inner map to play with on that side.
The roaming picks, we've seen the roaming plays. Another thing to realize, the instant wave clear from ROX isn't massive. They actually do have a struggle trying to keep their turrets up, especially against very strong sieging champions like Nidalee and the Caitlyn. So going back to the other mode of this comp, not so much the skirmishing, just the pushing. Now have those outer ring of turrets down and coming close to pretty much full map control for CLG.
Acting on what they thought would be viable for them. That early game when ROX falls behind, let's gank level 1 in the bottom lane. They got Nidalee in the first place, so that's gonna help the jungle as well. All the cards playing in their favor here to start this one off, but ROX not out just yet. 6K looks bad, but we have seen worse.
True, but I have to say, CLG has some very fearsome tools. Let's look at where, the advantages lie. Obviously, it is the mid lane there on the Aurelion Soul. That puts pressure on the entire map. Plus, they have this Gnar, who should be very strong in the 1 versus 1 split, so they should be able to pull the Tigers across the map. That will open up opportunities to get the vision down in between lanes. That's how you hinder the rotations of ROX Tigers. And whoa, stifle the income. Whew.
A headshot coming over from Stixxay, Voice of Light causing Gorilla to flash. They're on to Smithy now. He should definitely go down in this fight, but gets himself out. Beautiful heal as he was hopping away from Aphromoo. Just a little triumphant roar. And ROX is trying to focus these kills, trying to edge out a little bit more as they watch Smithy and other champions get away with a sliver of health. Now Darshan starts to attack back with the rest of the team. Finds Peanut by himself. Who's going to pick this one up? Huhi gets it with the stars and puts another one on the board.
And they have pressure on 2 lanes, pushing up mid and bottom right now, trying to claim turrets as well.
ROX just don't have the items to try and make the engages that Smeb is looking for. Prey is behind. The Aurelion Soul's not even a damaged target for the likes of Kuro. CLG is going to rotate between bottom mid, see what objectives they can pick up now, and never give there any inch. There isn't a Nocturne to turn this game on the head. Sure, late game team fighting, but I don't know if we're going to see a late game.
That's a very good point. This is zero hesitation, CLG. Under the turret could be a little scary for him, and it's going to be 1, 2 down now. Smithy falls, but it's to Kuro and Prey. With just about 200 to 300 health between Huhi and Darshan. They're going to start backing off. Peanut could get a pop-up, but where's the follow from the rest of ROX? They're a little scattered, and it's going to take a long chase.
Stixxay is going to have to protect everyone as he ushers them out, laying down the cover fire. Huhi and Darshan extremely low, and they are able to make the escape.
Enough time there. That was Smeb's flash as well in the fight to make something happen if they could get back in time. Summoners used all across the board. Absolutely amazing. We'll see that one again in a second.
Whew. All right, let's go down the list. Never mind. Let's go over the replay first, because this is, once again, the dive from CLG. Aphromoo lands a combo onto the 2 carries at the same time from ROX Tiger.
We haven't seen this level of decisive play from other teams, but there's so many tools for CLG when Aurelion Soul's another champion that can dive with as much health as he's already put together here. Huhi, Alistair has the early tankiness. Nara goes for the picks as well. They want to make sure there is no chance for ROX Tigers to extend the game and try and break the base before 25 minutes.
They're making it very difficult to decide between Aframu and Huhi. Who is the bigger influence here for CLG, as both of them have been brilliant.
Okay, come on. It's the 901 big dragon in the mid lane. Let's be real here.
Okay. Aframu's got 11 kills he's participated in.
He's participated more. He's got the big participation medal.
He set up the first kills on bot. Okay, that's a debate we don't need to have here. Honestly, CLG, what it's about is the next steps. And we talked about moving up the vision. Tigers have been doing a good job of actually clearing that vision out.
And you have to say the Korean teams, we saw Samsung fall way behind, we saw ROX Tigers yesterday fall way behind.
Yeah.
They're good at extending the games, they put wards in smart places. Samsung's loss against TSM should have come 10 minutes earlier, but they clawed, they stayed in the game. If ROX can do that here, as they showed yesterday, even without the gimmicky Nocturne, praise Ezreal. We already seen a highlight clip from him this game. There is a world where ROX gets back in, but how do they keep map control enough to not just give free Barons away to CLG?
Exactly. This is a very standard lineup. This is the least gimmicky, five-man squad that you would expect. This is a standard front line here, and just rely upon the carries getting fed. Problem for ROX Tigers, their carries are not nowhere near as fed as CLG. You can see Stixxay already with a very early last whisper on top of the Runons and Infinity Edge. This is a very easy neutral objective for them, and they should be switching over to the turrets after.
Windows closing as well for ROX to get these engages in. Quicksilver Sashes due to the lead being built so early. A Banshee's Veil on Huhi as well. It's going to be a lot tougher for ROX to find that initiation.
The one thing you could say ROX does have going for them is something that was completely out of their control. The two Drakes. There should have been no Drakes for ROX, let's be real, but they have two. There's no Infernal, there's no Mountain, so at least the Baron taking power is not there yet.
Right.
Meanwhile, CLG sieging on bottom side. Tigers should not defend this one. They've got Smeb up top. He does have teleport, but there's no wards they can teleport on, so no flank means definitely give up that gold. The last secondary turret should also go down before CLG rotate over to that red quadrant. Then you need to move your vision. You always need to fight where your vision currently stands. Right now it's in the blue quadrant because of the Drake and because of the bottom turret. Before they start all the shenanigans around Baron, you have to take a few minutes to move all of your wards over there.
We're just running down the list of free objectives that ROX can just give away and not feel too bad about. They have only one inner turret, and the rest of the line is at the inhibitor line. The moment that inner turret goes down, and honestly right now, the moment you see multiple CLG members running into your red side jungle, that's when you know you're boned when it comes to Baron control. So they must find a way to keep pressure on the map, but also farm up, because until things like Blade the Ruin King come through for Prey, until Malzahar gets a Void Staff, even if they get the sweet engage, they're too far behind to actually make it count.
I love the way they've been boarding as well, moving up, and we see every time ROX gets a chance to breathe, they are able to clear CLG's wards. That may be a chance for them to kind of get a bushwhack attack in the jungle if it comes down to it. Right now, the way CLG's wards sit, it's just telling them that ROX is in the fog of war. They don't have to worry. They know exactly where they are.
And look, I knew that CLG would be building magic, but it's been so smart. The Banshee Veil was very early from Huhi. Already not really a target you want to be using the Malzahar combo on. Double QSS, the insurance, but the snowball QSS that we didn't see from G2, where we saw Perks going all full offensive. Speaking of offenses, Hui's smelling around, but not going to find anything.
Yeah, it is very important to get QSSs on your front line when you're playing Malzahar, because that is the most often, often the target that he's going to choose because of the percent health shred, and it puts him in the least danger. Malzahar doesn't want to extend unless one of the enemy carries is out of position. It's going to be on that front line, and with both Darshan and Xmithy having their QSSs and then Huhi having the Banshee's Veil, they're fairly well protected.
I mean, not even including this, the ultimate from Alistair, so there really is no easy target. You can't clean up the support. You see two QSSs and a Banshee Veil, and if Malzahar's getting on top of Caitlyn, there's more problems for CLG than itemization.
The Baron trifecta ward here from CLG. They see everything on it, and now they can try to pressure ROX if they want to. Looks like bottom lane is going to be pushed in by Darshan here. They're going to try to scatter a bit, but Smeb does have that teleport, so it shouldn't scatter ROX too hard. Everything down the mid lane, as you said, Papa Smithy, that last mid turret is going to be the eye for CLG.
And you can see where the game is turning as CLG started to move their wards over.
Go over the wall there, Huhi, so it's been more farming time for Smeb.
Slowly walking back through the jungle. They still own, and being very careful about it too. Power in numbers, never letting one straggle. And it looks like they will wait for the minion wave here. Stix A and A for a move, ready to get on the front line, do some damage.
Yeah, they have Caitlyn traps, they have Nidalee spears, plus they also have the option to dive with the Alistar.
Ooh.
And their 1 versus 1 on the other side should be winning as well there with Darshan chunking down Smeb. Smeb has actually been able to get an experience lead due to picking up constant waves. They're rotating him back and forth to absorb those minion waves, but Darshan still with the extra power there. Black Saber completed as well.
Yeah, going on your point, it's kind of insane that ROX are keeping up in levels and getting that gold or gold value that comes with the levels, but they just don't have options against this Siege outside of a massive engage that just don't think it's time yet.
Yeah, Caitlyn is just too safe.
Smeb though.
There's the ghost. Ghost from Kuro. He's trying to get the hit from Smab. They're right on the Stix A. He goes down. They were waiting for the moment to pull the trigger. And he's going to do a bit of damage to keep them at bay. It's not a Narbar from Darshan. They're not going to be too scared of it, but they are able to still group in mid lane. He's going to try to build that up now, but they do recognize the attack, and they say, there's nothing for Darshan. We can engage here. Xmithie going too far is forced to flash and cleanse out for himself. Prey very low on the outside, and Darshan's able to pick up Prey as they get back into the fight. Huki was just doing tick after tick of damage, and it's a 1-for-1 after all of it.
And you take scope of where the game is though, Riv. It's a 9,000 gold. Going for 1-1 is great for the ROX Tigers. CLG got foxed. Smeb coming in from the flank, taking out 2 members. Doesn't matter how much of a gold lead you have when 15,000 gold worth of character is off the screen.
That's the reason I want to watch Smeb in the team fights, right? Just as I said, Caitlyn is too safe. He comes in, he ejects the backline, they're all alone, he's got the perfect angle, lands the charge, and they take out the center of CLG's comp. This is such a beautiful flank from Smeb. Look at all the wards CLG had too. I mean, honestly, that was the best play Tigers could hope for, and yet it still only resulted in a 1-for-1 because of the ensuing team fight here. Huhi on Aurelion Sol, the damage is constantly being pumped out there, plus the Rylai slow keeps them at range. Look at the backline, even though the focus is on Darshan there, CLG see the opening, and Prey just
this kind of
auto-attack.
casually dies.
Yeah, that's
first the expansion and then just an auto attack.
We gave him too much praise. I mean, I'm super caster cursed this game. Both Stix A and Prey, the AD carries.
I'm not clear who we've cast away and who we still believe in at this point, Toby.
All flashes, but Gorillas are down for this next fight if they choose to do so with Huki and Stix A. Theirs coming up just after that fight. Could get crazy. CLG going to pick up another Ocean, which is just going to give them so much time to sit at these sieges.
Just want to note for all the people making fun of Huhi as well, he's still yet to die in this game, and he's carrying these team fights
all
as
you
well.
people.
Remember Stix A died at the beginning of that fight? That was literally a 4 versus 5 turnaround for CLG.
We still have something fun to look forward to because there might be a manliness check coming up very soon for Hui. He has 10 stacks on his Dark Seal. Is it Medjai's time? That'd be a fun one. Medjai's against ROX Tigers at World. That's the one you dream of and then wake up and kind of, you know, pick at yourself and think, okay, that's not going to happen, but...
The observer scared me. I was still wondering if Smeb was in that bush. Looks like he is, and Prey as well. Here's your test, Papa.
Very thanky.
Level 15, 902, absolutely blows up Prey.
Holy crap.
Leads the rest of the team to do so as they try to get away now. Smeb, Keeper's Verdict, has no say in this fight, and he's going to be the next focus. A Gnar out from Darshan causes the rest of ROX to turn away, and they get just that, rocked out of the fight.
And Huhi passes the test with flying colors. 100% spray before Smeb even arrives.
Just wonder why this Aurelion Soul was not targeted. The information was out there. Everyone knew it was available against it. The bound's getting low.
Alpha Moon and Baspot able to use the Unbreakable Will to crush Kuro's ultimate. They're still trying though. ROX sees these entries, but CLG's able to just act on them. These are the chances ROX has to get back in. Darshan's now gonna get Pina in the top side. And it seems like CLG is able to stop that engage from ROX Tigers every time and then get a bag of chips.
Now the gold lead is really spiraling out of control for ROX Tigers. There's 5,000 gold lead returns. There's 7,000. And then there's 13,000 with a raid boss, 11-0-2. Huhi.
This is one exciting group, guys. I have to say, CLG looking poised to take over and deliver ROX Tigers their first defeat of the group stages. Inhibitor turrets still stand though, and that is always the most crucial defense point.
CLG in a best of one. People talk about cheese, what type of cheese will be today, but this is pure preparation. The level 1 Zix really drilled his players smartly in how to set up and take advantage of some of the things that ROX Tigers do a little bit lazily in the early game. Here we're going to see that replay. Praise life. It was there for about a second, and this at super slow motion is a 3-shot.
Like it.
He's not done yet either. Hui doesn't stop. Chases multiple people down here. He's like, okay, Smeb, he's probably cornered right now. And then he tries to go after Gorilla as well. They lock down the stun. Smeb, nowhere to go. That's the Baron for them. And CLG, let's see if they can crack that inhibitor turret line, because that is the big question.
What does a team fight that the ROX Tigers win even look like, Kobe? Maybe we're not even going to see a team fight because here's the gank crew.
Snap, this could be Hui over the wall. They get the GLP slow, and they get the rest of the slow from the Boomerang. This is a Guardian Angel going down. He didn't have one. I thought he did at the end. So many effects. That was Darshan's. Another one there. Smeb won't need to teleport back out. They are right up on the front doorstep of ROX Tigers base. 45 seconds, however, on the clock here. Baroned up minions headed in to this inhibitor turret.
Much damage already. Once it goes down, Darshan considers it engaged, but take the inhibitor, go from there.
Yep, inhibitor should be fairly easy. 27 seconds actually still on Smeb.
Yep.
They can end this with the Baron buff.
Peanut's knockup could really throw him for a loop, but I don't know if Prey has enough damage to get over the minions. There's a huge wave blocking the rest of CLG. They're going to drop the first Nexus turret.
CLG's new strategy, lose one game to the wild card to give the #1 Korean seed false hope. Bringing them back.
35 minutes into this one, Chronologic Gaming's going to play it safe, but still aggressive, making sure they get a Nexus turret, make a statement on the way out. A little bit of pressure here from Peanut as he does the Void Rush to let them know they have somebody on their heels.
On the walk over, Kobe. At CLG, they could definitely take a win off a ROX Tigers team that have honestly looked pretty casual, pretty careless in the first couple of games, and they're just about a hair's breadth away from upsetting the tournament favorites.
Definitely true. Albus knocks Luna also in a very good spot this week. But, I mean, so much can happen next week. Let's keep our eyes on this game as CLG try and take another inhibitor turret. Smeb coming in.
Keeper's verdict. How many does he get? That's going to be Xmithy and Stixay out of the fight. Huki, Afro, Moo, and Darshan. A huge Gnar ultimate against the wall. Prey now with Stixay 1v1 as he tries to get out of the fight. Kuro and Prey are down. That's the DPS. That's the fight as ROX runs for the fountain for solace. And Peanut does everything he can, going for broke with the last knockup. Where Darshan's going to follow him all the way home, and he's going to look for more kills, showing up on the world stage after having a troublesome season. The rest of CLG coming together as well here to pick up another victory at Worlds to go 2-1 in the first week.
That man on screen deserves the hugs and the praise. Hui given his Aurelian soul, and Hui shows up.
No other way to put it. Hui was by far the MVP. Not going to be any drama about the analysts trying to come up with one this game, and the draft was so strong from Zix and the playstyle as well. Sure, it's only a best of one, but it's a best of one to instill faith in the CLG faithful and in our North American crowd here today.
And this was such a switch from really what I expected to see from this Aurelian Soul. We saw Huki at MSI, farm back, try to clear that wave, keep pressure on it. This guy was everywhere. Where did this Hui come from?
Comboing with Afromoo's Alistar, level 1. Shoves up the wave, roams to bottom lane, and they got the game going very, very quickly, never letting go. Proactive from the very beginning.
And look, the Korean fans, I'm sure, will be relentless at their favorites losing to Chronologic Gaming, but I think this is actually a really important loss for the ROX.